distinguished guests and ladies and gentlemen. Earlier today, and that's one of the matters one has been working on, South Africans woke to the sad news of the passing of former Minister Pravin Gordhan. I had the occasion to go and spend some time with him last night in hospital as I returned from Cape Town before he passed on. And I was able to get a moment to speak to him, even though he could no longer hear me. But it was a sad moment for me to be able to watch him as he was passing on his journey to another world. He was one of the most principled and courageous freedom fighters that our nation has known and produced. We extend our condolences to his wife, Vanita, his daughters, Anisha and Priyesha, and to his family. Many of his family members I had found gathered from all over the world, and even as I arrived, some were arriving from various parts of the world to see him as he was passing on. Pravin Gordhan dedicated his life to the struggle of the freedom of our people. He fought to liberate this country from the shackles of apartheid, from inequality, from poverty, and from hunger. He is one person who was driven by a vision of a society in which all people may achieve their full potential and in which all may realize their dreams. I have decided that we will have an official funeral to say our goodbyes to him as a nation in the coming days as it will be announced. Today we will witness the signing into law of the Basic Education Laws Amendment Bill, and in doing so we will be affirming the vision of an equal society to which Pravin Gordhan dedicated his life. Now, the signing of this bill marks an important step towards resolving long-standing challenges in our education system. It was President Nelson Mandela who said that it is not beyond our power to create a world in which all children have access to a good education. This law is part of our ongoing effort to create such a world, a transformed world. Since the advent of democracy, we have made notable progress in expanding access to education for children of our country. However, barriers, as we all know, continue to exist in a number of areas in regard to access. In many respects, education outcomes fall short of what our society needs and what the young people of our country deserve. Our Constitution enshrines the right of all to a basic education. It requires that when advancing this right, consideration should be given to equity, to practicability, as well as to historical redress. As a country, we are a signatory to a global set of treaties that oblige us to advance universal access to education. This means that our people should have equal opportunity to access education, and good education at that, regardless of their race, regardless of their national groups, regardless of their ethnicity, regardless of gender, regardless of sexual orientation, regardless of religion, regardless of physical or mental impairment. This also means that primary education should be free and compulsory. Education must be the instrument through which we uplift our nation. It must be the instrument through which we overcome poverty, inequality, and underdevelopment. Despite the progress that has been made, there are challenges in basic education that hinder our progress. We have seen cases of learners being denied admission to schools because of their language policies. We have had cases of children not being allowed back to school or to sit exams because their parents cannot pay the school fees. We have also seen great disparities in norms and standards, in governance and in access to resources that should enable our education to operate at the optimum level. The Basic Education Laws Amendment Bill seeks to address these and many other challenges. The bill is part of the state's ongoing effort to build an education system that is more effective and more equitable. The passage of this bill follows an extensive consultation process that sought to take account of the views and suggestions from across society. Consultation, engagement, and debate are, as we all know, defining features of our democracy. And in fact, if we ever get tempted to pass any law without full and thorough consultation, the final arbiter in our political architecture, or constitutional architecture, which is the Constitutional Court, often strikes those laws and refers them back to the legislature. So we have made consultation a key hallmark of how we do things in South Africa. Consultation is important because it enriches the policies that are adopted and the laws that are passed. It adds many voices, many views to whatever law that we seek to pass. It lays a firm foundation also to ensure that as we pass a law, we are certain that it will have gone through the processes of thorough consultation. Now, as we proceed forward, we're now saying that we are correcting or doing what we should have done years ago. Years ago, we should have focused more of our attention on the foundational level of education and ensure that there's great foundation in our children as they advance to higher levels of education have had a strong foundation. Now that is why grade R, the reception year before grade 1, will now be compulsory. This will enhance our focus on early childhood development, which we should have done years ago. It will ensure now, if you talk about transformation, yes, we are a bit late, maybe 20 years late, but nonetheless, we have arrived. We should have started right from the beginning with focusing on early childhood development. But this is where we are. Because it will ensure young children are better prepared for formal schooling. We found that those children who start off in properly structured ECD centers are better prepared for schooling. This law now requires schools to apply the same standards for the admission of learners. The bill contains provisions for improving school admission policies, particularly with respect to vulnerable learners like the children of undocumented migrants. The legislation promotes greater accountability with respect to the role of parents and caregivers in ensuring children attend school consistently. I have often said that parents need to take up the responsibility of ensuring that their children do attend school. But teachers must also take up that responsibility. If children are not present at school, they need to ask themselves why those children are not at school and follow up. Homeschooling, which has become something that many parents are opting for, will now be subject to more effective regulation and oversight. And it is no longer masizenzele, you just do it for yourself. It is now going to be regulated because it is our responsibility as the state to make sure that every child in South Africa is educated. And we say this on a compulsory basis. To promote inclusivity, the new law guides schools on the development of codes of conduct that take into account respect for religious as well as cultural beliefs. This is important for fostering a more tolerant learning environment and a more tolerant society. As part of advancing diversity and inclusion, the new law advances the issue of a language policy. Schools have to consider the broader linguistic needs of the communities in which they are situated. The law seeks to align the role of the school governing body in determining language and admission policies with the responsibility of the education authority, provincial education departments, to ensure the constitutional right to basic education. That is the authority of a state body to make sure that the right to education is enforced so that it is not masenzele. It must be according to the law. So it is important on an area as important as education that there should be state involvement, as we say there should be parent involvement as well. So the two must be seen as complementary. And of course, the role of parents is so key and important, but so is the role of the state that has an overarching responsibility on what happens in education in our country. The law seeks to ensure uniformity and fairness in educational standards across all schools, and it is only the state that can do so, working together with parents. To improve safety in the learning environment, the legislation reinforces the ban on corporal punishment. It introduces stronger penalties for those who administer corporal punishment. The legislation introduces financial and public accountability frameworks for school governing bodies as well. It guides the oversight of their activities and work. There has been much debate about this bill. Different views have been sharply expressed. In the last few days, in fact, in the very last few hours and the last few minutes, parties to the Government of National Unity, as well as parties outside the Government of National Unity, have expressed their wishes to further engage each other on some of the sections of the bill that deal with the issues, particularly of access, admission, and language. Now, up till just a few hours ago, a number of those parties have said, President, we have a solution to address these two issues. And they have said, all we require is just a moment for further consultation. And they have said, we beg you not to sign the bill. Please do not sign the bill. I've said, no. I have committed to the people of South Africa that I am signing the bill today, and that's what I am doing. I can see you're very excited. Now, that's what I've said. But I have also said, I am hearing you. I am listening to what you are saying. And in the spirit of cooperation and meaningful engagement, I cannot say no to engagement, even at this late hour. I cannot say that. I have to say, if you do believe that these challenges can be resolved, I am going to do the following. I am going to sign the bill to give a clear message to the people of South Africa that we are proceeding with the transformation of our education system. However, as president, I'm prepared to open a window for consultation for a limited period on two clauses. And I've therefore decided that having signed the bill must now proceed to be implemented, and I'm glad that the Minister of Basic Education has clearly said that once signed, this becomes the law of the Republic, and the department, meaning herself, the Deputy Minister, and the department will go ahead and implement. The date of implementation. Of course, the commencement to implement is a date that needs to be set. So, implementation on signing should start immediately. However, I have said as president, I am willing to allow those who do believe that a solution will be found to the two clauses that they believe they have solutions for, to give them the opportunity. So I've decided to delay the implementation for clauses 4 and 5 of the bill by a period of 3 months. The rest of the act is implemented immediately. For 3 months, I allow 4 and 5 to have those engagements. This will give the parties time to deliberate on these issues and make proposals on how the different views may be accommodated. Should the parties not be able to agree, I want to make this clear, should the parties not be able to agree on an approach, then we will proceed with the full implementation of all the parts of the bill within a 3-month period. So in making this decision, I am drawing on a tradition of engagement that goes back many years, including the drafting of our new constitution. At the time of the drafting of the new constitution, we had to resolve seemingly intricable differences that had occurred over issues such as the right to strike, language, education, and land. Now, education revolved around language as well. And in doing so, we were able to give each other time to finalize. And on these matters, we were able to find each other. And I believe that this can happen again. The approaches that have been made on this have come from the political parties in the GNU themselves, and I have decided that I'd like to give them the opportunity for 3 months to have those discussions and bring a report back to me. Should the report indicate that there is a solution that they have found, the various processes will ensue. If a solution has not been found, as they put their clever minds together, then the implementation of this bill will continue as passed by the legislature. Whatever our disagreements, we all seek a better, a more efficient, and a more equitable education system that best serves the children of South Africa. Now, this, I believe, is the best possible option. What it does, it gives those who have views, who have solutions, even at the late hour, to be able to come forward with solutions. Now, I'd like all of us to be open-minded, to enter this period, 3-month period, with a great deal of confidence that solution will be found. And in many ways, it will put pressure on everyone to find a solution. But I must make it clear, if a solution is not found, the law stands as I will have signed it today. That will be the law of the Republic. We all agree on the need for a common framework for collaboration as government, as school governing bodies, and as parents, for our education system to work for all and not for some. We have to work better, we have to work in a smarter way, and in the end, we have to work in a cooperative way. And that is why I'm invoking this process for 3 months, that on a cooperative basis, a solution must be found. And if it is not found, the law I have signed stands. Let all of us work together, therefore, to ensure that all our children receive good quality education, wherever they are and whatever their circumstances. It is our responsibility in the end to create social cohesion and harmony. And need to create social cohesion and harmony should not be the responsibility of some. It should be a collective responsibility of all of us. Let us take advantage of our diversity to move our country forward. And let me take this opportunity to thank all those who have participated in the process towards the passing of this important law. I know this law has been in the making for some 11 years, and finally we have arrived at a moment when we have this basic education law amendment bill. Let us now work together to build the education system that our children need and deserve. I do believe that with this way forward, we will be able to find all the solutions that we need. I am now ready, prepared, willing, able, and positive to sign this law. Thank you.
Colleagues in front that are taking pictures, please be considerate of your colleagues at the back. Thank you. A round of applause, please. Thank you.